live.
We are live. All right, you ready for this?
Yeah. Still smiling.
I know. All right, guys, welcome back to another one. It's been a minute since I've been able to do a car review, but this one's definitely going to be a special one. If you guys haven't seen his TikTok, which I know you guys have, okay? So if you've seen it, you're going to know this NSX that's behind me. He's my resident Honda expert. This is McRib47.
What's up, guys?
And we're going to talk about this NSX a little bit. So,
let's dive into it. So this is basically every Honda boy's dream car. You know, whether you start off EK or whatever chassis, like this is the ultimate goal. This is what you get to.
Oh, this is definitely your end goal.
Yeah, that's it.
This is the Ferrari or the Lamborghini of the Honda, you know,
Correct.
family.
Correct.
So 100%. This is definitely any almost import, not just a Honda guy.
Yeah.
Like the NSX was always that almost unattainable car that you just couldn't get. I know when I was coming up, starting to drive everything else, this was a 90,000 plus car.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't get a hold of these.
Yeah.
And it's one of those cars that had this like love-hate thing.
Mm-hmm.
When they first came out and they were released, there was a lot of hate on this car.
Yeah.
You know, there was, oh, it's underpowered. Oh, it's not fast enough. It's NA, which all the other ones from this generation, you've got a Supra, you've got an FD, you've got any of the Skylines. They're all turbo.
Yeah, that's true.
They were all turbo.
All turbo, yeah.
You know, they were either single turbo or twin turbo, you know, but they all made more power. They all had boost.
Yep.
And this was one of the only NA cars.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of that higher that higher scope car and that late 90s era, you know. So this one here, because it has pop-up headlights, is a first gen, right?
Yep, first gen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is NA1.
Yep.
Okay. Which engine?
It's the C30A. So this is like the only motor that came in this Honda. There is no, you can transfer from this to that car, or if you get it off this year. This is specifically from this, you know, to this car. Yeah. And it
didn't go in anything else, right?
Like there was like almost like the guy with the Acura Legend.
The Legend.
I was like, wait, the intake manifold looks familiar. You know, there's similar design, but
it's not the same engine.
The cool thing about this car from factory, titanium connecting rods. So a lot of people don't know that. So they upgrade, but like the stock ones
so
are.
It's okay. So Honda was like, I'm gonna give you a race car. Yeah. But just tame it down a little bit. I mean, well, from the factory, what was this, 15s and 16s?
Yeah,
or something?
it was staggered, 15, 16.
And they were the smallest. They were like the
skinnies.
smallest. Yeah. Yeah. So like it didn't have enough wheel. Didn't have enough tire for it.
Yep.
Suspension wise, I guess stock. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it handled real well. It was definitely a capable track car, but it really wasn't like it was this high-end luxury car that...
It was like the everyday sports car you could drive. Yeah. Because it was like competing, you know, Ferrari.
Like almost like a vet. And I hate to say it,
but I get what you're saying.
But it's almost like that midlife crisis vet. Yeah. Like, oh, I can afford it, but I'm not really going to drive it like I stole it.
Exactly.
I'm just, you know, I can afford... You know, I came up with Hondas. I started with Hondas. You know, when you stay within the same family. So you're like, oh, you know, maybe they owned an Integra or, you know, a sporty Honda. Yeah. You know, or maybe started with like an EG or something back in the day, moved up, had like an Integra, you know, or came up depending on what the years were with maybe like an RSX or something else. Yeah. But then they're like, oh, now I have money. Yeah. Oh, I'm probably a family guy at this point, or you know, I probably have a family, but now I can afford it, and this is what I get into. Exactly. So I've seen them on the track. They're definitely fast. Yeah. I've seen them turbocharged. I've seen them supercharged.
Swapped.
I've seen them swapped.
They've done obviously K swaps and J swaps. So J series, because all you need to do is just change one rear mount, and it just mounts.
And the J drops it.
Yeah. So and you can use the stock trans.
And if you guys if you guys follow the NSX and everything else, I'm sure y'all are aware of Amir's RS Future.
Yeah,
I mean,
that thing's nice.
this is a bone stock.
This is before it got to his hands.
Yeah, you know, and his is all. I think it's basically tube framed front and back at this point. A huge K turbo in it, making an insane amount. But that's kind of the wild side of this car, and it's still very capable. This one is,
I would say, in stock
really
form.
Close to stock.
Yeah, just wheels and coilovers.
It's got
exhaust.
It's got TEs, and they're not fakes. They just don't have the stickers on them.
Yeah.
They just got repowder coated, so the stickers aren't on them yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they are actual TEs. They're not reps for that. But otherwise, the car is super stock. It's really, really clean. We'll go through it. I'll show you guys, you know, all the little clips. I'll show you under the engine and everything else, because I mean, I'm sure if you're on my channel, you know that the engine isn't here.
I would hope
in this car. But if you don't, you know, this is a mid-engine, right?
Yep.
Not a rear, but a mid-engine.
Yeah, mid-engine.
So not like a Porsche.
Yeah.
It's a little bit closer, like an MR2.
Yes, exactly.
Like
That's
an
what
MR2.
Mid-engine
Okay.
runabout.
So your weight distribution is different, because most everybody, you know, most all the other cars have the engine up front, and it's an FR layout for most of them, unless it's another Honda, and then it's an FF, you know. But so in this case, with it being mid, not quite rear, your weight is back behind you and actually helps settle the vehicle in the rear end. So it gives you better traction, it gives you better handling.
And like kind of going back to the vet, like that's what they went to.
That's what the newest vets went to.
It's
yeah,
the, like, best
you know,
design.
and that's if you look at the exotics.
Yeah,
if you look at if you look at the Lamborghinis, if you look at the Ferraris, not all of them, but most of them.
Like that's the platform they go to.
And that's the way they are.
It's proven.
I mean, the Porsche technically, you know, is rear engine because it's further back. It's not a mid, but it's still the same idea. It's still the same process. So this was. I mean, this is technically an exotic.
Yeah, like for those that I know, there's a lot of Honda followers on here. Like if you don't really know the story, you should really look into it. Like this car wasn't going to be made, and also no one told Mr. Honda, or I don't know if it was Mr. Honda at the time, that you couldn't make a car all out of aluminum. Every mass production or company he went to that like would make aluminum raw material, they're like, we can't do it. That's impossible.
Yeah.
And if you know Honda's story and Mr. Honda, like just a brief history, started off as motorcycles, then started building motors. There was a very famous story where like in, you know, California, there's a lot of big like muscle car companies,
right? And
they couldn't conform to the EPA standards. And Mr. Honda's like, hey, 71-year motors. He got a crate motor. I don't know what American company, whatever.
I don't remember.
I don't know, but like he's like, boom, there you go. Passes smog, all like legit. I fixed it, and it was just like, boom, look. And that's like their motto, power of dreams. And it's just crazy because it's a very underdog company. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone always puts Honda bottom, you know? And it's like, look at the engineering and how smart he was to challenge that. And it's like, this was something that someone said you couldn't do. And also this car, if you go back in the history, was not going to come with VTEC. The DC2 Integra R was going to be the first motor with VTEC. But then they're like, how are we going to drop our supercar
and not have VTEC?
Yeah, and not have NSX is new supercar experimental, fun fact, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
So they were like, how are we going to drop our supercar and not have VTEC in it? So if you look, it's a single cam motor on like the original diagrams. The whole intake manifold is different. And compared to this motor, you'll see shots throughout the video. It's way different than before. And it's really crazy to think like, yeah, how are you going to drop a supercar? And this is is like what we did and it not have VTEC. That's, you know, and that's, it was just nuts to think that.
So one of the things that normally happens now with the NSX is most people buy them in automatic.
Yeah.
They're easier to get in automatic. They're a whole lot cheaper in automatic. And then they convert them over to manual after that.
Yeah.
This one, straight manual.
Yeah.
I mean, this is pristine. This is as close to stock as you're going to get or want. Like I'm okay with a set of TEs on the car.
Yeah, like that's so easy to change back to stock if you wanted.
If you really had to have it back to stock.
But no one really rocks the stocks. You just keep them as spares or something.
That's exactly. So, I mean, for me, any car that's not going to turn into a track car.
Yeah.
Which I'm sorry, because almost all of mine, that's where they end up.
Yeah, they all go.
It's hard not to.
Yeah.
It's hard not to. But something like this, like that you get in this pristine, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
But it's for its age and everything else.
It's really nice.
It's super nice.
Yeah.
It's super clean. You know, yes, it has a couple paint chips here. Yeah, but that's an honest car.
Yeah.
You know, and it means it's also more affordable. Because if this car was showroom stock, no miles, no anything else, I mean, this would be what almost a $200,000 car.
Yeah,
like,
you'll see it at the
I mean,
Honda
you
Museum.
see, you see like the like S2000 like CRs and everything else. They're like, oh, they're only 10,000 miles and the car sells for almost 200K. Like, that's where this would be.
Yeah, that's where that would be.
If this was a low mileage, like super pristine car, that's where it would be.
Exactly.
I would say the only thing this is missing, well, I guess two things.
Okay.
Two things.
What is it?
Two things. Yeah, is not right-hand drive.
Okay.
But honestly, it to get a right-hand drive version of this, again, you're in a different bracket.
You're in a different bracket.
So it's not right-hand drive.
Okay.
And it doesn't have an R at the end of the plate.
Oh, now that's a way different bracket. Get that R. Yeah, because there's different kinds of these, different trims. You know,
yeah,
the
yeah.
S, the Type S, whatever in Japan.
But then the R.
Yeah.
You know, and most people with these will turn them into an R.
Yeah.
You know, because why not? You couldn't get one, you know.
Yeah.
But I guess if you wanted to go to like that Uber like top shelf, you know, like it's an R34, but no, it's not just an R34. It's a V-Spec M NUR, you know, and it's in Millennium Jade Green.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. For this, you'd have to go to a right-hand drive. It would need to be championship white at that point.
That's it. That's
and it would have to have an R badge with the wing.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's just crazy. Like this car, I feel like it just doesn't go out of style. You see it and people ask you, what is this? It's like, it's a Honda. Wait, Honda doesn't make these nicer cars.
Well, not only that, but with this generation, okay, you're like, not just that it's a Honda, but that it's a 90s Honda.
Yeah,
this is a 25-year-old car.
Yeah.
This is almost a 30-year-old car.
It's crazy to think
that you can pull this up to any Cars and Coffee meet, anything else. You can park this next to the Ferraris.
Yeah.
You can park this next to the new Vets.
Yeah.
And it gets just as much attention, if not more, depending on who the people are that are looking at it.
Yeah.
Because it still looks awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the way this car is, as much of a wedge as it is, as sleek as this body is on this car, this still fits with all the other supercars.
Yeah.
I mean, it basically was a supercar of its, of its day.
Now, like Camrys for today will beat it.
Well, off the line, you know, you get them. You get any family car. Any family car is going to beat it off the line, which is kind of funny. But I do feel that this was an overlooked car, almost like the LFA.
Oh, okay.
Because like that car was out and everybody's like, oh, they spent 10 years designing this car. Oh, it's overpriced. Oh, you know, all of this. Well, now that they don't make it anymore, like try and go find an LFA. Yeah. Like they're astronomical for price.
Yeah.
That's kind of where this is.
Yeah.
You know, everybody kind of slept on it when it was, and they were like, meh, whatever. But I mean,
now
even today, this is a good car.
Yeah. People are like, wow, like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it comes back to that full circle where, you know, you hate on a car and then you actually get in it and you're like, why did I ever feel that way?
Why did I hate it? Yeah, I mean, that was, I know I've been in plenty of 90s cars that, like, when I was younger, and I just didn't appreciate them.
Yeah.
But I didn't know to appreciate them. I think maybe it was.
I was like that towards Miatas. Very, like, just like, I was totally against them, and I got into NA, and I was like, this is so much fun.
Wait, this is fun.
Yeah, like, wait.
Oh, the MB, when I drove that around the track, you guys can catch that video. I literally was laughing as I'm driving it because it was so much fun. I'm in my helmet just with a huge smile in my face. But again, I had always slept on a Miata because Miatas are slow.
Yeah.
And technically they are.
Yeah.
But then you put a Miata on the track with the right suspension, even with a stock engine, and they're fast.
Yeah, like if you're able to pass a Miata, that means you're fast.
Yes.
Because like they're just
normally they
yeah.
hawk you,
yeah.
and you're like, oh wait, okay, I'm on a straightaway. Let me run away from them, and then all of a sudden you go 2 corners and they're on you again, and you're like
do the point by, and then you're like, damn, I'm getting passed by this like $4,000 car.
And you can hear them full out
yeah,
like to get by you.
You're like they're pinned and you're like letting off the throttle so they can pass.
But then 3-4 corners later, they're gone.
Yeah,
they're gone.
They're
you
gone.
know, and
yeah.
Again, the Miata's one of those cars where it's the same thing. It was, you know, it wasn't appreciated. Then later on, people started getting into them, started doing like the grassroots type of racing and everything else, and then, oh wait, these are fun.
Yeah, they're like, wait,
you know, they're
cheap. They made a lot. Some
yeah,
parts are very accessible. There's a lot of R&D. A lot of companies make cool stuff for it. And it's like, why would you go anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, and that's so. Like a lot of the old Hondas, like a lot of the old JDM stuff that we all love, these cars are getting to the point where they're actually affordable now.
Yeah.
Affordable.
Yeah.
You know
what I mean?
affordable for the market, but previously we couldn't get into these, and something like this isn't necessarily 90,000 anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's pretty cool. We have to cut because this train's gonna go by us, and he's just hitting the horn.
Yeah, he's
so
like, bah, bah, bah.
yeah, I mean, the only problem with shooting in an industrial park, you know.
I'd rather have this problem because it goes by real quick instead of being in a busy area. You have your OEM spare. So if you see the OEM style wheel, it's gonna have the same spoke design, which I thought was really cool that they continued that. You got obviously your radiator, all your fuse box, all that, you know, jazz.
You got your brake booster, your ABS?
Yeah, it's the ABS unit. It's
wow,
you.
That
no,
ABS,
ABS
unit's gigantic.
If you pull it out, it looks like a freaking Death Star.
That ABS unit's huge.
Yeah.
Okay, but ABS in the 90s.
Yep.
So ABS in the 90s is still like, okay, we got cruise control.
Yep.
Your brake booster, your clutch, and all your fuses, and then you've got your spare tire.
Yeah, there's spare tire right there. Boom. And you just spin it, pull it out.
So everything's there.
Yeah.
Easy.
Pretty easy. You know, you got your radiator, it goes all the way, all the hoses go all the way under the chassis.
Shock towers.
Yep.
So your adjustability, you can actually reach them here.
I always liked, because
that's super
obviously
easy.
these are not OEM, so they sit more recessed, and you have the little caps over it, so it keeps it like clean. So it's kind of funny, all the little knickknacks.
that's cool. So with the aftermarket ones, you can actually adjust.
Right there, boom, boom, boom.
That's super easy. Okay, so we got radiator, AC. Anything else?
I would guess since we're at the front end, you know, after this gen of NSX, they went to a fixed headlight O2s. Everyone loves that one. They also got like a 7-spoke wheel, which is kind of looks like a ITR wheel. And those are like money. The front bumper is a 2-piece bumper. It splits into 2.
Okay.
Again, it's an all aluminum chassis. So So if you ever go to the track, guys, and like, you know, it's a brand new guy, maybe an older gentleman, he's like, cool, my first day of the track, I bought me some magnetic numbers, and they just keep falling. They don't think, hey, it's aluminum. They just keep falling.
Well, that's like the new Supras. The Supras, you can't put the magnets on the doors.
I didn't know that. Never.
Never mind. So inside, I mean.
So, you know, you got like the typical, like, okay, this is Acura, which is a more prestigious brand off Honda.
Right.
So you got a lot of leather. You got, you know, and it's got a really cool cockpit design. Like everything's angled towards you, you know. It's kind of what they do.
It's very driver focused.
Yeah.
It's extremely driver focused.
One cool thing is, I forget what year they stopped, but all of them came with black tops. So that's how you don't differentiate. It's a coupe.
Ah, interesting. Because otherwise up here they made a Targa style,
correct,
right?
Yep. And one famous driver that had a lot of input on this car was Ayrton Senna. There's a famous video of him driving, I forget what track, but in loafers.
Yeah,
he was just on the track.
And he was just killing it.
Because his say meant a lot to them.
Well, I mean, he was a professional driver. He was in the Hondas.
Yeah.
It's interesting. They got the little like the little tough.
Like it looks
Yeah, they're like, oh look, we're gonna be, you know, super luxurious and put this here.
Yeah.
And it's cool the way they have the AC vents.
Yeah, if you look at
for the driver and everything,
it comes through here through the dash.
And
seals off with the seal.
So because of the way the car's as low slung as it is, and how like low the dash is and everything,
the visibility is just amazing.
That's true though.
If you look over the hood,
that's true.
It's just like, you don't see it.
The hood's super short and it's just a go. Yeah, so like and as you guys can see with the cockpit, like it's very, very driver focused. So like everything is about you.
Yeah, like
which I do like of this era.
Yeah,
because like the Supra,
the FD,
yes, they were
like
all
literally turned towards.
And
you.
it's just, but you know what's funny? That's the way the new
C8.
vet is.
Yeah,
the new vet. I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah,
it's just like a psychological thing that people study.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, this is where all the info needs to go. The passengers just got to sit there.
It's not a commuter car.
Exactly.
It's a driver's car, and because it's a driver's car, it's more of a almost like a race car. It's a sports car, but it's more of a race car.
Yep.
And in that, the focus is the driver.
Yeah.
And it's in driver's position. It's in, it's all the ergonomics of it.
Yeah, everything is angled towards the driver.
Yeah.
So here's the the infamous C30A. I forget what year the second gen came out with its C32. So 3.2, 6-speed.
Okay.
Yeah, so it got little things done up, but I don't know how much of the horsepower.
That was kind of their refresh.
Yeah.
That was kind of their refresh. Let's give it a little bit more. It'll give it a little bit more low end grunt because it's got an extra, but I mean, there's actually a lot of room back here.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised. Like, I mean, I've seen them fitted with turbos. I've seen the individual throttle bodies on these.
Yeah.
Oh, ITVs.
Yeah, the ITVs, how they come up right
on
here.
this. Oh, yeah. And they'll just get rid of this little fuzzy.
The only thing that's like, how every kind of car has like a, how like the E92s, rod bearings?
Yeah.
The thing that happens with this car, it's a certain year, snap ring failure in the trans.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's like if you would check your mileage, like, is it out of snap ring when you would buy one? You would ask them, and they're like, oh yeah, it's out of that range. So it's a certain mileage where the snap ring just fails and trans blows up.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so you're like, oh, mine's out of snap ring failure. So like that's another thing to look at when you're buying one, guys.
That's one of the ones for mileage.
Yep.
Yeah, so you have to watch the mileage. So you have, of course, midship, so it's pushed up, which means it still has a trunk.
Yep. And it's got a decent amount of space.
It actually, like, okay, so, in other cars, they make them big enough to fit...
like a luggage or like a suitcase.
Golf clubs.
Yeah, there you go.
The big thing is golf clubs. I don't know that this would fit a set of golf clubs in it, but it's still actually a pretty good sized trunk.
Yeah.
Like...
And another cool thing about this car is everything is modular. You can take the quarter panel off.
Look, it's just like a fender. It's just like a fender.
Not a lot of people know that.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's all inner skin.
Yeah.
It's all inner.
Yeah.
It's all inner structure, which is cool. Now, we've been talking about everything that's really good on this car.
Yeah.
Look, I saw your hands. That's it. So, any 90s car.
Yeah.
Anyone that's a hatch, that's whatever. What always gives loose on these things? What always watch, like just catch it, because these always give out.
Yeah, the little
the little shocks.
Yeah, the little shocks.
I don't know what it was about the 90s, but in the 90s they just couldn't make a shock that would hold up long enough.
It wouldn't
They were always like a couple years, like in the EGs, you have the little glass or whatever.
Oh yeah, the clamshell.
Those always go out.
Yeah.
The CRXs. You could never get a hatch
to stay
on a CRX with a hatch.
Everyone would have a stick.
You'd have a broomstick. You'd have a broomstick.
And they're so
a little
cheap.
bat. You'd have like.
Yeah. Maybe at the time, because there probably wasn't Amazon when people were like doing all that. But like now they're so cheap. It's like, why?
But no, like they're always. And okay, so that's one of the things that's fun about these cars.
Yeah.
Like again, it's not perfect, which makes it perfect.
Exactly.
So you still get to play around with the car. You still one of the things I love about 90s cars is you can work on them.
Yeah. So what's really cool is Honda makes a OEM, I'm a big fan of OEM Plus. So like, when you're usually working on a car, you're usually leaning over a fender, right? In this situation, what are you leaning over? The whole rear end.
Yeah.
So they make a service mat that goes like from quarter to quarter and lays right here, splits right here, so you can put your tools right here and work on the car.
and you can lay over it.
Yeah. So it goes all the way down to here. And
that's awesome.
All the way to the other side. So when you're going, you put your tool right here. Obviously, you're not going to throw the tool.
Right,
but
right.
If you were to work on it,
but you have a mat. You have a mat to work on.
The paint, like if you're doing spark plugs or like you're doing anything. So that's a really cool thing. Not a lot of people know about.
That's a Honda. You know what? I take that back. That's a Japanese thing.
Yeah, they're very conscious of like.
Everything. Everything.
That's why they just make the best everything, because they think about things ahead that you wouldn't think like you needed, but they're like, look, we offer this, and it's like, I would have never thought of it.
You guys dropped that comment below. He said the Japanese make everything. They think of everything and make everything for you. Do other companies? Do the German companies do that?
Well, they don't even give you a
know,
spare.
Like,
and look at this. CRV first gen came with a picnic table in the back.
That's
they
true.
knew Americans wanted to. We were, going out.
That's one of his next cars. That's he wants
dad
one.
mobile.
He wants one. Yeah. He wants one. But we're gonna take a little drive with it. We're gonna go up and down just a little bit and show you guys that. And as always, you guys, I appreciate you. Drop those comments below. We'll do this little drive, and you guys let me know what you think. If you have any questions, hit the technical ones below in between myself, Mr. McRib.
I'll read the comments in the video. Yeah, don't be afraid to share love.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean,
I really recommend you learning the history of this car. It's a very important car in automotive, and this wasn't gonna be here.
Yeah.
Like, they were gonna be like, you could never make a car out of all aluminum, and it's physically here.
I know it's
and they're still being made today. Like, they have the newer ones. Obviously, people don't call it an NSX no more because it's not. But I mean, that new one wouldn't be here if this wasn't made.
No, that's true. That's true. And this is one of the cars that, in my opinion, pushed not just the exotics, but like pushed that sports car.
Yeah.
Push that rear engine or that midship, and look, you can still have fun in it. It's still a fast car. In this case, it wasn't even boosted. It was still NA.
Yeah, still NA.
You could have a Honda that was NA that would keep up with the boosted cars.
Yeah.
And technically, it still would keep up with certain cars on the track right now.
It all depends on driver skill.
Yeah.
This is one of 2 rear-wheel drive U.S. available Honda cars.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. All right, we're gonna get out. We're gonna do a little drive. You guys enjoy. Thanks. They thought of everything.
Dude,
there's a little.
Yeah, a little guy.
Yeah, that's funny.
So when the truck's behind you, blind you.
Drives like a Honda.
Yeah, it's super. This throw is super short because remember this is cable.
Yeah.
So it's not that shift rod's like V series.
But see, that's okay. So, I mean, I've been driving Hondas forever, and it's funny because the no power steering, the short throw on this. I'm sure some people will flame, but literally that reminds me of like my CRX.
That's crazy.
Like, it has a nice little short throw. It feels good though. Like, it's solid.
Yeah, there's like not a lot of play. And what a lot of people don't understand is like when they get in these, they're like, wow, they drive so good. But this car wasn't like mass produced. It was made by hand.
Yeah.
So the tolerances are so tight.
Or everything's super tight on it.
So they would only make a couple a day, like 10 or like, don't quote me on the number.
Yeah, whatever.
It's not like.
But it was low volume though.
It's not like your Camry that's getting like 100,000 a week, you know? Yeah, this was handmade, so it's like, and there's a study to show on this that after, I forget how many years, like 20 years, the body has shrunken at least 10% or 20%.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I was like, what the heck?
So one of the things I like is that the gauge cluster and everything, it looks just like an Integra. It
does, yeah.
Like
the font.
Like everything about it, yeah.
I just thought like showing the battery voltage was really cool. I was like, what? None of my cars have had that. Like, you know, it's OEM.
Yeah, but like that's interesting because it feels and it's not a bad thing, but like if you've ever driven like an Integra or anything else, like this steering wheel reminds me of an Integra.
Yeah.
The steering wheel reminds me of the Integra. All the extra like little stalks and everything over here don't.
That reminds me of a 300ZX.
Yes.
Yes, that's what
yeah.
I remember. I was
but
like,
it's all generationally. It's all the same. It's all the same idea.
Yeah.
I like the whole console area and everything else. Yeah. Like, it's all really interesting. Like, it's very Honda, but that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And then of course with this car, like any other Honda, low in the RPMs, it doesn't really have any grunt. Like it's a commuter car down in the lower RPMs, which is fine.
And it's easy to drive. It's not like, you know, where it's like
no, it's not jerking. Yeah. It's not no. It's very comfortable.
And it was quoted like the everyday like supercar.
Yeah, it definitely fits that.
The drivability is good. There's no weird creaks like.
No, like that's the thing about it is, like it feels really nice.
The leather dash was like new to me. Like I was like, what? Like this is really different.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I haven't.
Well,
seen
that's the luxury side of it, you know. And of course, you know, here in the U.S. it was an Acura, which all the Acuras came with leather and everything else, you know. So.
Second gear.
Like, but it's fun because it just keeps going.
Yeah, it just wants you to ring it out more.
And it just wants you to get up in the revs.
Yeah.
You know, which that's what's fun about a Honda, you know, is that at 6,000 RPMs, you know, I guess 5,000 we'll say, at 5,000 RPMs, you're only halfway there. Like these cars were all made for like 9,000 RPMs. Yeah. This generation 8K was the red line, but really most all Hondas were very happy up to like 9K.
Yeah.
You know, and then of course the built ones and everything else, you know, you would get 9 or 10 9,500. You know, once you did a little bit of the upper valve train and everything else, you know, you could make 10K with these easy. As you guys see, we're just kind of back on a side road, doing a couple loops back here to feel the car out.
And what's really crazy is like, you know, you got like the obvious like B series, like how they're loud and stuff, but this has a really unique exhaust note.
Nice tone.
That you would be like, wait, what? Like if you were to listen to this blindfolded, you wouldn't know it was a Honda.
Yeah,
and that's what
true.
I love about the C30. Like it has a very unique tone. If you've experienced it, you're like, wow, that's a really cool exhaust tone.
Yeah, the car is super comfortable.
Like the visibility, the A-pillar.
Everything, it's wide open through the windshield. It is, and like you said with the nose,
you can't
see
the
you
hood.
Can't even see the hood. Like it's all about you.
You just see the
right
road.
Here. It's almost like being in a sim. It's almost like being in a sim where you have your steering wheel and your screen right in front of you and nothing else.
I was gonna say, like when you choose that view setting on Gran Turismo,
yes,
you just see the track. I was like,
yes,
this is exactly how
that's what this feels like. It is. I don't know. This is one of my, you know, this is one of the cars.
Yeah.
This is one of the, you know, the 90s 2000 era cars that, you know, we grew up wanting, and I still want this.
Yeah. I mean,
like I would 100% be happy with this. I don't need this, which is interesting because I don't say this about a lot of cars. But I don't need this to be a race car.
Yeah.
I don't need this to be a track car.
Yeah.
I would be very happy with this to be an OEM plus type of car where I would have suspension, exhaust, wheels and tires.
And that's it, yeah.
And I'm done. And I would have a blast driving it. I would enjoy it every day. But yeah, this is fun.
It is.
This is really a good car. Yeah, I definitely would be more than happy to add this to my collection. But again, I would rather it be right-hand drive.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you guys let me know what you think. Drop those comments below. Let's talk about this car. This is a fantastic, beautiful car that is still relevant, even though it's almost 30 years old at this point. I mean, you know, this car is I don't know, like people say it's like a fine wine, an aged fine wine. Like I don't even know. But it is. It's a beautiful car, it drives really, really good. Like, everything's crisp. The shifter feels good. The steering feels good. The suspension feels good. I hear one little rattle, but there's like no creaks. There's no nothing. And again, this is a 25-year-old car. That's incredible to me. So you guys, drop those comments below. Let me know what you think about this one. Let me know what you think about other 90s cars. Any of those 90s, 2000 JDM fun cars, even if they're European or whatever, let me know. What car do you guys want to see next? What do you want me to review next? If you have one that you want to do a review, you're in SoCal, hit me up, DM me on IG, and let's see if we can set up a time and we'll do it. We'll meet out here, we'll go to the track. You know, I prefer to do these where the car is meant to be. So if you have a show car, let's take it out, let's hard park it in a nice, you know, either an industrial area or a scenic area or something else, and let's talk about it. If you got a race car or it's more race oriented, you know what, let's do a track day. If you've never done a track day before, I love to coach. If you like going to the track and you've been to the track a bunch of times, hey, it's just an excuse. Let's go. So, you guys, drop those comments below. Let's talk about it. I'm going to move on to the next one. I really appreciate you guys for hanging out, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Thanks.